Yo, what's up? Welcome back. You already know what it is. It's Wednesday night. Your boy is back in the building, man. Karan Twin Cadell on Facebook, Titletown TV underscore KC. As you can see, my handle right here in the across the screen right about now. You know it's Wednesday. You know what time it is. It's time for Sports Talk with KC, which is what KC you host each and every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, man. Before we get started, please like, share, and subscribe to Titletown TV on YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all you get your podcast needs, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff, man. We got a loaded show for you guys tonight, man. We got a part two kind of from last week. We was only able to squeeze in the top five of each position for offense. This week we're going to do defense and as well as tight end. Apparently, I forgot to list off my top five tight ends in the NFL right about now. And also, we're going to get into a little college football if we have a little time in. But right now, we're going to focus in on the top five. Defensive player this year, man. Let's go ahead and get started before I forget about the tight ends once again. So at number one, my top tight end obviously is Travis Kelce, man, from my Kansas City Chiefs, man. Had the best quarterback. Him and Pat had graded the one of the greatest tight end to quarterback to tight end connections of all time. Up there with the Brady's and Grunks, the Matt Ryan, Tony Gonzalez, Tony, a lot of great tight end, quarterback to tight end pairings, man. Kelce, he can line up in the slot, he can line up in line. It doesn't matter where you put him in, he's going to make plays regardless, man. You mess him up with a linebacker or a safety, you're done, bro. You're cooked. It doesn't matter, man. You better off putting a bigger corner on him. He's definitely one of the smoothest, quickest route runners from the tight end position, man. Seems to always be open, man, and is a big part of that Chiefs offense. His brother, Jason Kelce, plays for that great offensive line I talked about last week with my boy T.K. Jackson, Jason Gonzalez, one of the greatest brothers to play NFL together up there with the Tikis and the Rondé Barbers of the world. Next up, I got at my number two spot, I have George Kittle, a guy who doesn't get as much love as he used to anymore. Because of who he plays for and how much talent they have on offense. A lot of people want to talk about Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, who's a rising star on the offense. Brock Purdy, a young quarterback who was drafted late last year, is getting a lot of love. Beat out Trey Lance, was able to beat out Sam Darnold, which is not saying a lot. Those two guys haven't played very well since been in the league, but a guy like Sam Darnold, who was the second overall pick years ago, Trey Lance, they traded a lot for. He was able to beat them out. But back to George Kittle, man, a huge wrestling fan, so just like me, so I'm definitely a fan of his just for that fact alone. He comes from a pipeline of tight ends from University of Iowa. Produced a guy who you will hear later on this list, T.J. Hockenson, Noah Fant. Guys played the last few years. Pipeline from Iowa to the NFL has impacted the game a lot. But yeah, man, George Kittle is very underrated, very I wouldn't say shifty, but like sneaky, athletic, shifty guy who could run the routes with the best of them from the tight end position, can block with the best of them, man. It's a complete tight end, and I can see him continue to build on that success he has done so far. Hopefully get the 49ers over the hump this year, man. They've made it deep in the playoffs recently. season by Lamar Jackson, who plays for the Ravens, obviously, was the top target for the Ravens that year. Even now, last year was the first year, but when they brought in Isaiah Likely, a guy that they probably viewed as the future at tight end for them. With Andrews getting a little older, you know how the NFL does is a business, and they looking to get younger, and you know what I'm saying, the older players are aging out, and Mark Andrews showed up, man, showed up and showed out, bro. Isaiah Likely is very good. He's probably going to make the list one day in the future, but Mark Andrews makes consistency in that top 5 of tight ends right now. Next up, we got Dallas Goedert, another Philadelphia Eagle. Has risen since the change at quarterback. Has became one of the Jalen Hurts' top targets. We hear about the A.J. Browns of the league. We hear about Devontae Smith, who he played with at Bama. Jalen Hurts did. And everyone forgets about Dallas Goedert until he catches the ball. Until he's running down the middle, catches the ball, is wide open, and it's just like, what do you do with that? You know what I'm saying? You have a guard, this big receiver on the outside, and AJ Brown. You have a smaller guy in Devontae Smith who can make plays with the biggest guys, former Heisman Trophy winner. And then you got Dallas Goedert, bro. No wonder Eagles are so good and made the Super Bowl this past season. The offensive line's already great, man. So you throw in a guy like Dallas Goedert in that mix and accomplish that run game, which made him get a little better. One of the top 5 running backs I mentioned last week, maybe joining them. I hear they're looking to add Jonathan Taylor to that mix. So, man, Dallas Goedert role could grow or it could decrease with, you know what I'm saying, added talent like that. But Jalen Hurts needs that talent. I had a tie at top 5. There's 2 guys I really want to mention here at the top 5, and I'll go into my honorable mentions after that. But T.J. Hockenson, I mentioned earlier in the show when I was talking about the Vikings. The Iowa Hawkeyes, that tight end pipeline. You got 2 Iowa tight ends on this list already. And then Darren Waller, man, a guy who's been through a lot throughout the league, has been cut for a few teams, has battled addiction, been suspended from the league, became one of the top tight ends when he was playing for the Raiders. And now he's playing for the Giants, man, which they stole him, honestly, man, from the Raiders. I was very surprised that the Raiders was so willing to give up what they gave for him. And it's just like, you guys were building something. You had Devontae Adams, who you traded so much for from the Green Bay Packers to reunite him with Derek Carr. Derek Carr's now gone. And then you have a guy like Darren Waller, who you trusted at tight end each and every season and was producing for you guys. Had Hunter Renfrow in the slot. Josh Jacobs, a guy we mentioned in the top 5 running back last season. And then now you trade away Darren Waller. Like, you are going backwards, Raiders, man. I know you want to save a little cap space and you want things to be running you a certain way. But when you got players making plays, man, like Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, you have to play those guys and keep them around, man, for a long time. But yeah, Darren Waller, man, one of the best tight ends. He's tall, fast, surprisingly good blocker. But in the receiving game, he's definitely one of the top 5 receiving tight ends, man. Honestly, I really want to put him at around 3, but the other 2-3 guys are just as good, man. It's kind of hard to discount what they do for their team as well. A couple guys I want to mention before I move on to the next group of the players, the defensive players. Start with them. I want to mention Pat Freiermuth from the Steelers, man. Great young tight end. I think he was from Penn State, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, has proven that he should have been drafted a whole lot earlier. I was big on him coming out of the 2020 draft, if I'm not mistaken. But I was really high on him coming out of Penn State. And I was hoping he would have stuck into that second round range, but you know what I'm saying, him getting picked by the Steelers has proven to be a great thing for them. Great blocker, great pass receiving tight end, can do it all. David Njoku, a guy who stepped up a lot for the Browns quarterback last season, as well as Deshaun Watson after he served those 12 games, should make a big leap. And then Kyle Pitts, he didn't make my top five, or didn't really get closer to the top five, honestly, because his play declined last season. You could say it's, you know what I'm saying, unfamiliarity with Marcus Mariota, a young quarterback, and Desmond Ritter. I think it might have been a little bit of coaching changes on that side of the ball, whatever it was, but he wasn't as productive as he was his first season, which he made the Pro Bowl. But we all, us SEC fans, all watched him tear up the SEC. All of us watched him ball out at Florida, man, and we know what he can do. He's really a big receiver. And I'm interested to see how the Falcons continue to evolve the offense with Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts himself, Desmond Ritter, young quarterback, O-lineman that is steady and improving. I really want to see the evolution of the offense. Hopefully they take a step forward and be one of the top 10, 15, in the top half offenses of the league. Yeah, man, I really want to see them do some great things, but Kyle Pitts is definitely on my radar. But let's get into the D-lineman, man. Let's get into the big nasties on the defensive side of the ball. Man. All right. So defensive tackle. We already know. Most of you guys already know who watch ball and follow the sport. Know who the best defensive tackle is right now. He's possibly the best defensive tackle of all time, and that's Aaron Donald for the LA Rams. Guy who missed a lot of games, missed a few games last season, man. I think he only had like 8 or 9 sacks last season, which is a down year for him. But it was a down year for the team as well, man. A team that, with the right pieces and right the injuries going in their favor, more or less, probably could have made some noise in the playoffs again, or been right just outside of it. Matt Stafford got hurt. Cooper Kupp went down with a knee injury that ended his whole season. Baker Mayfield came over and did some cleanup duty for Matthew Stafford. The defense fell off after the exit of Von Miller, Leonard Floyd. A lot of things, moving parts on that Rams defense, man, that really derailed Aaron Donald. And honestly, he's really the only single player I'm pointing out as far as D-lines go on that D-line. Everybody else is pretty much a group, an entity that really balled out last season and come to this season should do the same. My top defensive line right now is the Eagles. I have Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter, man. 2 out of the 3 guys are Georgia prospects, Georgia products that making an impact right now and will make a big impact here in the future, man. Jordan Davis did get on the field very much because of Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, guy we're going to talk about here in a second. But was a top pick in last year's draft. Big defensive tackle that can stop the run, man. Neither polishes pass rushing, but he's getting better, going to do better. But his pass rushing buddy from Georgia got drafted by the Eagles, so you know how them guys going to do in the middle. It might spell for a shorter career with the Eagles for Fletcher Cox with those 2 in the mix. But yeah, Jalen Carter, man, a guy who can pass rush from the inside. It's a big monster, man, who could maul you over with the bull rush. Can do a little finesse with the hands and swim moves or whatever. Can do it all to get to the quarterback. And then Fletcher Cox, they constantly professional in that defensive tackle spot. Always ready to attack the quarterback, can stop the run as well. which is a very underrated part of his game. 49ers. Next up, I have them with Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Ed Armstead, and Drake Jackson, a guy at USC who I was very high on. When he slipped in the draft, I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised. I don't think people knew his true value, and when he did finally get picked up by the 49ers, he added an extra defender to that already stacked defensive line. But yeah, man, Nick Bosa, probably the best edge rusher outside of maybe a TJ Watt, Michael Parsons, Aaron Donald from the inside. But yeah, Nick Bosa, man, pay that man 49ers before I forget. Pay that man. Please pay that man. You will live the regret if I don't, man. Brother Joey Bosa from the LA Chargers. All right. Next up, I have the Washington Commanders, man. A team a lot of people forget about and don't really recognize at all. Not just defensively or offensively, but just in general, man. The whole name change thing and how their GMs and owners run that organization. A lot of their players get shadowed a lot. Overlooked because of the personal things going on in the organization. But they got some really talented players, especially on the defensive line. Kind of like with the Eagles, they got some couple players who played together, went to the same school. But we have Jonathan Allen, one of the top defensive tackles in the league. Deron Payne, who's not too far behind him. Both Bama guys, man. Roll Tide. You guys see it right here, man. Roll Tide to them. Chase Young, former second overall pick. Behind Joe Burrow, of course, and then Montez Sweat, a really versatile defensive lineman who can play some linebacker, can play some edge, some DN, very fast, quick, man. I think he ran like a 4.39 or something like that in the combine. He was super quick off the edge, man. But those first two guys I mentioned, they're so good. The organization don't know who to pay. Just pay both of them, honestly, but it's a good thing to have. Like having two people in the same position in the same spot together on the field like this and dominating on that side of the ball is definitely gonna wreak havoc on a lot of teams in the league. So watch out for the Commanders, bro. I know the NFC East is loaded with the Eagles, the Giants, both two playoff teams. Cowboys are always talented enough, but don't really achieve. They underachieve a lot. Honestly, but the Cowboys are always around in the mix, and then the Commanders, man, don't get a lot of love because of who they play for. Like I said before, the owners and everything that's going on with their name change and stuff like that. But yeah, man, watch out for the Commanders. They could surprise some people. They got some talent on offense too. I mentioned Terry McLaurin last week as one of the top receivers in the league. Brian Robinson, the Alabama guy who was one of the best running backs in the league, man. So watch out for the Commanders. Next up, I got the Miami Dolphins defensive line, led by Christian Wilkinson, Jalen Phillips, Raekwon Davis from an Alabama guy, and Bradley Chubb, man, guy who they traded some first-round picks for. Yeah, man, that defensive line is loaded, man. Phillips and Chubb come off the edge. Davis and Wilkins in the middle, bro. They can have it. They got the corners to do it, to force some turnover, to force some interceptions, man, to get the ball back in the hands of Tua and those quick receivers and running backs they got down there in Miami, man. The Dolphins going to make some noise again this year. Wilkins is up for extension right now, so pay that guy. Jalen Phillips, one of better young first, second year edge guys. Raekwon Davis, man, went from a guy who's kind of an afterthought when you think about Bama defensive players in the league right now, but definitely one of the better ones. I'm not sure more. All right. There we go. It's a bit of lighting. And then Bradley Chubb, man, played for the Broncos. Was part of that rebuilding defense for the Broncos. Miami, a little closer to playoff success. So they were able to trade him away and scoop him up. Miami did right, man. Bradley Chubb's gonna be a great rusher for them in the future. Now and in the future, man. Can see them making a deep playoff run. As long as Tua stay healthy, as long as they keep those pieces together, man. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, man. That's a great 1-2 punch. I would like for them to have a bigger guy, but it's not about offense. We're talking about defense tonight, but that's just my opinion. Next up, we have the Steelers, led by Cameron Hayward and T.J. Watt. I know how I feel about T.J. Watt. He's one of my favorite defensive tackles. I love the Watt family in general, bro. J.J. Watt is one of my favorite players of all time. He really made me a Texas fan. I followed him for a while once he got drafted by them. I already was cheering for Andre Johnson, but then JJ came up. I was like, bro, he's my favorite defensive player in the league right now, and he showed it. And TJ is the same, man. Beast rushing off the edge, can do a little bit in coverage. Cam Hayward is an older guy, but still gets production done, man. Gets out the quarterback, stops the run. Alex Highsmith was really looked over and overshadowed by T.J. Watt last season. But look at his tackle numbers. See what he did last season, man. You wouldn't overlook him no more. And then a young guy and Keanu Benton, who came on late for them last season, was really good for them. It's really good for them. And then Marlon mentioned the Browns, Bills, Giants, and Cowboys. Cowboys can definitely rise up on the list, especially with the acquisition of Stephen Gilmore to the other side of Trayvon Diggs, one of the best ball hawks in the league. Giants is building a defense for your ass. I made this list before the Isaiah Simmons trade, so it might come in that top 5 defenses go. But we're talking about D-linemen. I'm talking about Cowboys. Dexter Lawrence. I'm thinking about the Giants again. DeMarcus Lawrence, had to regroup myself. DeMarcus Lawrence is one of the better defensive ends, edge rushers in the league. Michael Parsons, we know what he does. And then Bills, same thing. You got Ed Oliver in the middle. Gregory Russo on the edge with Von Miller as well. And then Browns, man, Myles Garrett. That's all I gotta say. Myles Garrett. Moving on to edge, I mentioned before, literally just said it. Myles Garrett, my top edge rusher in the league right now. Michael Parsons, who I love Michael Parsons, can put him all over the field. Middle linebacker, outside linebacker, edge, can play some 3 technique, maybe can play some 0. So we'll see, man. But Michael Parsons and Myles Garrett are my top 2 edge rushers in the league, followed by a pair of brothers of other players, Nick Bosa and T.J. Watt, brothers of NFL players that played or are still playing in the league. I mean, Max Crosby, one of the most consistent as of late Raiders defensive lineman. Chandler Jones came over there and he still is outproducing them, still balling out, still committing double teams, and Max Crosby still getting done. Honorable mention: Joy Mosa, Hassan Reddick, Von Miller, who's a little long in the tooth, aging a little bit. I think the deal he got was a little much. A lot of years, a lot of money for a guy who's aging the way he is. And then Rashawn Gary, a young guy for the Packers, who's finally coming on, who played for Michigan years ago. Who a lot of people very high on, struggled coming in, but I think he's starting to get it now. He's starting to turn the corner, man. All these guys, double-digit stat guys, and so, man, you can really flip and mix together, throw in a hat, and pull out 5 names and really get 5 great names. I mean, even with the honorable mentions, man, Von Miller, like we all know how good he was just 2 years ago. 2-3 years ago, he was still one of the best defensive linemen. Joey Bosa, same way. Nick Bosa gets a lot of love, so he gets overshadowed by his own brother. But Joey Bosa, man, don't forget about him. Like Chargers has a great one in him. Plays with Club Mac now, makes it a little easier for him. But definitely one of the better defense edge rushers in the league. Linebackers, man, another position that gets overshadowed by the team in general. A lot of people don't really draft linebackers really high anymore. But yeah, my top one right now is Fred Warner, linebacker out of 49. I told you, man, that 49 defense is loaded. And this is why, bro. You have a top 5 linebacker. You have a top 5 edge rusher. Rightfully, you can throw in Eric Armstead as one of the top defensive tackles in the league right now. Javon Hargrave definitely one of the top defensive tackles in the league. But yeah, man, that defense is loaded, bro, and you will definitely see more and more how good Fred Warner is. He's still really young, still got a lot of experience, and will get better each and every season as he has before, man. 120 tackles each season he's been in the league. So that's what I tell you. Next up, Lavonte David. I think he might be the oldest guy on this list, but Lavonte David is still really good for the Bucks. Has played all over that linebacker corps. Played a little middle last year when he first came into the league. He was your standard outside linebacker that can cover. I got some comments, bro. Okay, yeah. Yes, Fred Warner is a absolute dog. Roof. I'm not sure that was in the comment section. I'm going to bring you up once I can see it now. Let me go back to Facebook. Yes, man. Fred Warner is absolutely dog, bro, in the league right now. And 120. Yes, the dude has been doing it, man. Since he entered the league, man. And then next up, Demario Davis. I honestly really wanted to put Raekwon Smith in this spot, but Demario Davis, man, has from a personal standpoint. I really follow his story, man. He's really good dude, from what I see can tell. And then Roquan Smith, former Bears linebacker, former top 10 pick out of University of Georgia. Those Georgia Bulldogs is back again on this list, but yeah, man, was traded mid-season from the Bears to the Ravens. Is a leader on that Ravens defense. Yeah, man. Those, like I said before, those 2 through 4 guys are really interchangeable. And then Shaq Leonard out of Indianapolis, the Colts from the Colts, is another guy who's very consistent. He's balling out since his rookie year. Went to HBCU, went to South Carolina State. Has put on for the smaller schools, the HBCUs of the league. Very surprised that he has fallen on this list, man. He was one of my favorite tacklers, linebackers of the league right now. So at one point. All right. Moving on to the corner, man, to the defensive backfield, man. To DBs, bro. Like Richard Sherman said, the hardest position to play. Which which Michael Irvin and Keyshawn Johnson got a kick out of yesterday on first take, undisputed, man. But yeah, number one, I got the young bull. Yes, sir. Sauce Gardner. Has only played 1 year in the league and has given up very little to receivers and tight ends or whoever comes his way, man. Sauce Gardner is a true lockdown corner. The Jets don't have to worry about that side of the ball. Kind of like back when they had the Real Reavers. It's just, hey, take number 1, 2, 3, 4. We got him on the other side and then slide whatever. Our linebacker can cover. But yeah, and number 1 receiver, forget about him. He's not playing there. He's just a decoy. Next up, I got PS2, Patrick Surtain Jr. And yeah, some people, he's already passed his dad. His dad is a Hall of Famer, a Pro Bowler, and people is debating already. Is he better than his dad already? And it's a legit debate because he was that good. And I can say he's gonna get better. A big, strong corner, Alabama, can do it all. Can cover, can stop the run, can make your best receiver invisible. Next up, we got the vet of this group was not too long ago the best corner on this list. Before these rookies got in the league and these second-year players got into the league now. But yeah, it's Jalen Ramsey, new Miami Dolphins cornerback. Has moved around a little bit. Started out in Jacksonville. We see how that turned out and became a Ram. Won a Super Bowl. Plays for the Dolphins now after some frustrations, which I understand. And the direction that the Rams are going in, I don't think he was too much with that, man. And to see him continue to be consistent, continue to ball out, continue to be the best player he can be, still can jump those two easily, man. Especially with that Miami defense line, they can cover any and everybody. Yeah, man, I can definitely see him taking that another step back into his rightful place. Jair Alexander, another corner I want to talk about here. He's very chippy with receivers, man. Looking forward to see some of his matchups against these big time receivers, man. The Jamar Chases and the Justin Jeffersons of the league, man, gonna be very exciting. TV, a lot of great football gonna be going on this year, man. Jair Alexander, I guess where he plays up in Green Bay, and the offense normally gets the front seat to everybody with Aaron Rodgers when he played there, and the receivers and running backs they got there. You don't really think about Jair, but he's very valuable to their defense. Their defense knows how valuable he is. Their defense knows how good he is. And so him being in the top 4, like I said, just like the same case with J. Ram, it really could be a top 1 or 2 corner in the league, but Sauce Gardner and Pat has came in and took over the league. And then right now my top 5 is Darius Slay. Big play Slay, man. Another one of those SEC corners, man, who was really talented still to this day. I love his podcast. I love watching him on the field and off the field. Great dude, man. She's like a great locker room guy. Just from my head stories from his former player teammates and current teammates. Was originally with the Detroit Lions. Is now with the Eagles. Is one of the reasons why the Eagles are one of the top teams in the league. And then Stephon Gilmore, Marshawn Lattimore, and Trayvon Diggs are my honorable mentions. Trayvon Diggs is really a top 5 corner if you just want to talk about his interceptions, his takeaways, and what he does as a ball hawk. But he gives up a lot of yards, man. That's my only knock against him. Other than that, man, he's like a receiver playing corner. It's like he is running. Well, I mean, of course, he's running with the receivers, but it's like he's on the same time as his receivers are. It's his ball too. The way how he's looking at it. but then he gives up a lot of big plays, man. You can test him, but then that test you can fail that test or you can pass that test. And a lot of times, a lot of quarterbacks and receivers fail that test. Marshawn Lattimore, corner out of Ohio State a few years ago, has been misconsistent on that same defense. Has balled out the last few years since being drafted to them. And then another guy who was formerly the number one corner in the league, and Stephon Gilmore when he played for the Bills and for the Patriots, running out of my honorable mentions. My top safety in the league right now is Minka Fitzpatrick, another one of those Bama guys. They're like, oh, Bama this, Bama that. I know y'all tired of me popping up my Bama guys, but yeah, man, can play corner, can play safety. We've seen him do it at Bama. We've seen him do it in the league. Mika is a great safety, a better player overall, just a baller. Can line up in the slot, can line up at safety, deep or strong safety, doesn't matter. Derwin James, next up, my number 2 spot, can play strong safety, can play some outside linebacker in the box, outside on the edge. It doesn't matter, man. Derwin James gets it done. Those two guys, they are my Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu. No offense to those guys. If you guys disagree, please comment. But I think trajectory-wise, those two guys has that Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed thing going on in that safety position, man. Those two top safeties that always produce, that always get the job done. We don't have to worry about their positioning. Derwin and Mika are my 2 top safeties in the league right now. The first Tennessee Titans make this list tonight, and Kevin Byard is a constant Pro Bowler, man. Gets overshadowed a lot because of I mentioned before, Derrick Henry at running back gets a lot of love, and D-Hop now on the offensive side of the ball. A guy I didn't mention earlier, but is definitely to be talked about. What's his name? Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle out of Mississippi State. Was on that defense as well, man. But Kevin is a constant Pro Bowler, constantly balling out, constantly making plays for the Tennessee defense, and is one of the great leaders in the league right now defensively. Antoine Winfield, son of Antoine Winfield, former Vikings corner, Redskins corner from back in the day, man. Was one of the reason why they won a Super Bowl years ago with Patriots with the Buccaneers a couple years ago. Him and Brady, offensively, defensively, balled out and led that team to a championship. And then rounding out my top 5 is Justin Simmons, safety out of Denver, the Broncos. Safety is maybe the reason why Pat gets a lot of love, but he does control that middle. Can get down in the box and shut down your tight ends as well as stopping your run. And then I got a trio of Bills safeties to start off my honorable mention. That core of Bills safety is really good. Micah Hyde, Jordan Power, and Jamar Hamlin. It's a great group of safeties, man. They're interchangeable. You can put 2 of them on the field and be fine. Put them all 3 out of the field and be fine as well, man. I just want to talk about that Bills secondary real quick, who has Trayvon White. I'm tripping. Trey White on that defense. Another versatile corner safety guy, Tyrann Mathieu, one of the better ones in the league, and then Jesse Bates, a great nickel corner and safety in his own right. But yeah, man, that was my top 5 defensive players, man. Any guy you think I mentioned, any guys from last week that I forgot to talk about, or y'all feel like is our top 5 in those positions, please hit me up, comment in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? And the thing y'all want me to talk about in particular, your team, your team of players, an issue that's very big in the sports world that y'all guys want me to touch on, then I will definitely get on that. Next up, let's talk about some college football, man. It's right around the corner. Of course, us Tuscaloosa people will be watching Bama take on Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee State, which should be a great game to start off the year. With got a little bit of a quarterback controversy with Tommy Buchner. I'm messing up his name. Please let me know. Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson. Me personally, I will put in Jalen Milroe, has more cohesiveness with the Bama receivers, and more chemistry with them, knows them a little more than Tommy. But let the best man win. I'll be happy with whoever lines up at quarterback for us this year. Ready to see us play some ball, man. A lot of movement with the college football realignment, and everybody trying to get into the playoffs. Everyone's trying to get the best players, best recruits to their school with the big NIL deals, and a lot going on. And I stumbled upon a TikTok earlier or yesterday, I can't remember when it was, of a realignment suggestion of how they would do things that's more geographical. The Big 12, Pac-12, starting with them, with the West teams, Colorado, Washington State, USC, UCLA, Stanford, Arizona State. I think Utah was on the list, maybe Nevada, those bottom teams, but like all those teams over there in one big conference, and then down in the guess you could say, I wouldn't say Midwest, but the Southwest, with the Big 12, we had the Texas teams, the Texas Tech, Texas, Baylor, Houston. What's the other list? Oklahoma State, Nebraska. All those guys come right there in the middle in the Midwest, making up the Big 12, SEC, LSU, Auburn, Bama, Georgia, Florida State. He had South Carolina, Clemson, Kentucky, Tennessee, Vandy, all those great SEC schools all in one. And then the ACC's being a real actual coastal conference with Miami, Rutgers, who else is on it? Those North Carolina schools like Duke, UNC, North Carolina State, just the whole East Coast of teams, man, and truly being geographical. Instead of everyone just going wherever they want to go and not really fitting geographically and having to make those teams travel to them or going to them, being a lot of those players, he really broke it down to where it geographically fit, and it is not. No one's too top heavy. You got your big dogs in the West with the USCs, the UCLAs, who can offer big money in the with the NIL deals over in the West Coast, so they be able to get players. You got Prime coaching the Colorado, Buffalo, Texas staying in conference, Oklahoma staying in conference. I think Arkansas joined that conference as well, which goes back. They go back to the Big 12, which is at one point the Southwest Division, whatever it was at one point years ago. And then SEC still got the powerhouses of Georgia, Bama, LSU in the SEC. But yeah, man, it was a great suggestion. Honestly, I hope that the NCAA sees it and adapts it, because these teams come like USC and whoever was thinking about going to the Big Ten. I'm like, bro, the Big Ten is for the North, bro. Let them North teams stay where they at. Let the North teams and play who they want, who they play in that region, and give them boys a break. I know they would rather the teams that are normally good, that haven't been good recently, are good enough to be in the playoff, want to get back into it. But if you play the schedule that y'all play and the best y'all abilities, go undefeated, you guys will get that love, man. Especially with the conference, the college football playoff expansion to 12 teams or however many it is, you will get that. If you win your games and stay true to your conference and true to yourself, man, and just ball out each and every Saturday night, Sunday night, wherever you guys play on, man, you will get those recruits. You will get those playoff spots. You will get the championship game, man. So stay the course, ball out in your conferences, man. He did have top Power 5 champions from each conference, making it, and then the at-large bids. It's whoever finishes 6 through 12. So, man, you guys go out there, vote, petition for that new concept. I really like it. I think it would definitely bring some eyes as well as more interest to the college football. You get more in-state rivalries, more than just one weekend a year, or it could be random. It could be week 5 and we got a rivalry, in-state rivalry. It could be week 1. We have you know what I'm saying, a in-state rivalry. It could be whenever. Competitive football makes the game grow better, and these in-state rivalries, these conference rivals, old or new, bring in money, bring in talent, bring in eyes, bring in recruits for these schools, man. And you guys will get it right, man. But as a suggestion, I'm sure the NCAA probably won't take the concept seriously. It's just being a guy on TikTok just talking whatever. But if they do, I'm for. I can't remember the creator's name. I'm definitely going to share it after I get up his live tonight. Definitely would do that. Let's look up some games and predict some winners, and then get up out of here, man. Week 1 college football. Colorado at TCU. I think TCU takes a step back this year. Okay, Colorado wins that. Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders going to prove too much for the TCU defense, man. I think they're going to ball out. Florida and Utah play again this year, first game of the year. Florida upset them last year when Utah was 7. They're 14. Utah is 14 this year, and Florida is unranked. I do have the Utah Utes winning this game. Eastern Carolina versus Michigan. Should be a cakewalk for Michigan. Tennessee, Virginia. Tennessee. This first year with Joe Milton being the starting quarterback. He's getting a lot of love with his draft stock as one of the best arms in the league in the college football altogether. Like I mentioned before, TCU, Colorado matchup. They're right now the spread is 20.5. Gonna be way closer than that. I mean, way better than that. I think that Colorado is going to pull off the upset. I think TCU is going to take a step back. New starting quarterback lost a lot of pieces to the NFL because of how good they were last year. Arkansas State, Oklahoma got them winning. The spread is 35.5. Utah State, Iowa. I have Iowa winning this game. But look out for Utah, man. They could definitely upset some people. Utah might be the one of them. The spread right now is 23.5. But Iowa might not be that good this year. Mercer at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is going to win this game. Jason Dart's back at quarterback. Ole Miss is one of the best running backs in the conference. would be really well for them. Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks play Portland State. Should be just a warm-up game. Not really anything rivalry we have to worry about. But yeah, Bo Nix leads the Oregon Ducks to victory. Ohio State with new quarterback Kyle McCord beats Indiana in their first game. Boise State at Washington. Washington, Michael Penix, however you say his last name, is one of the Heisman favorites that got through in their game as well. Rice at Texas. Texas, we're gonna beat the crap out of them. Pretty sure. Tennessee State versus Notre Dame. We've seen what Notre Dame could do last week. They're gonna just win another game this week as well. Buffalo at Wisconsin. Wisconsin should win this game. UT Martin at Georgia. No one ranked Georgia, not losing to UT Martin. Nevada, USC. USC gonna smoke them, and Caleb Williams gonna likely to go back to back. Heisman's. New Mexico versus at Texas A&M. A&M wins. We talking about Middle Tennessee and Alabama. West Virginia at Penn State. Penn State wins this game. 2.5 spread. Sheesh. I don't believe in West Virginia at all. North Carolina at South Carolina. 2.5 spread. It was a little close. South Alabama at Tulane. Another close game, 6.5 point spread. I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to go with South Alabama. South Alabama going to win. Just because we're in Alabama, we're going to call the upset for Tulane. Oregon State at San Jose State. I'm going Oregon State. LSU, my favorite team coming into the league into this year. And I'm a Bama fan. I think LSU going to be really good. I think LSU has the national, not just SEC championship potential, but national championship potential. LSU's that good. I think they're going to be really good this year. Last year, I think, being a new team, new quarterback, and new coach last year, and they have more experience. They were led by a lot of young guys, a lot of freshmen and sophomore who are now sophomore and junior now, who really gonna do some things, man, down there in Baton Rouge. I have them beating Florida State. The spread 2.5, which is really close. But yeah, I believe in LSU a lot more. I think they're going undefeated this year. Clemson and Duke. Clemson, of course. They started another quarterback as well. But not really. He did relieve DJ Ugalale last season. But yeah, man, those were the predictions for week 1 of college football. Oh yeah, you guys heard my top 5 defensive player in each position tonight. That's all I got for you guys tonight, man. Please stay tuned next week. My fantasy league will be hosted live next week at 7 o'clock for our fantasy draft. Please stay tuned and see how that goes, man. Maybe learn some things about fantasy football that you guys didn't know. Or if you guys are interested in joining the league, please hit me up. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find all Sportstalk with KC content, Title Town Wrestling, Title Town see those videos as well. Anything you guys wanted to see from us on the community side, sports side, wrestling, you want to be a guest on Sportstalk with KC, want to be a guest on BMT, just let me know, man. Hit us in the inbox, man. Hit me, Lamar, Jalen Davis, Adam Horner, a.k.a. Jose Dunn on Facebook. Please hit one of us up. Hit one of us up. I am your boy, Title Town TV, KC. Follow me on all social media sites at that handle. You can see it right there, man. You guys have a good night. I really enjoyed the show tonight, man. And talking with you guys. Please leave a like, man. trying to move over to YouTube full time. So, man, in the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe. As you can see right there at the bottom, Titan Sound TV. I'm out.